Now, if there's one thing John Stossel loves, it's hounding the homeless. He's done this segment countless times, where he goes and he pretends to be homeless, and then he goes, ha ha, people give me money. Yeah, I know, they thought you were homeless. They were trying to be decent human beings. They didn't know you were a Fox prick in disguise. So here he is on Fox bragging about it. Watch.
I put on a fake beard and tried begging in New York City.
You help me, man?
People gave me money. They gave me money when my cardboard sign said homeless and cold, and they even gave when I changed it to need a beer.
Thank you.
You know I'm a beer drinker myself.
Yeah, thank you.
When we asked givers why they gave, people said things like this.
I don't know, that guy looked pretty needy, I suppose.
I just begged for an hour, but I did well. If I did this for an 8-hour day, I would have made $90. 23,000 for a year. Tax-free.
He does this every time. Breaking news. People in New York are actually decent. You know, if someone looks needy, they try to give them help. Suckers, losers, liberals. Now look, I actually don't give money to the homeless. And you can judge me for that. And I'll tell you why. Because it is better to give to a shelter. Because you don't, of course you don't know what they're going to spend it on. Do I give food from time to time to the homeless? Yes, I do. Because if they say they need food, and I got food, I can share it with them. There's no problem. So I actually don't disagree with the central premise of John Stossel, which is it's not the best idea to give money directly to the homeless. You're better off, and they're better off, if you give to a shelter. And Stossel's going to explain that later. But he always thinks that this is like the most clever thing that anybody's ever come up with. Like that liberals, progressives, that regular New Yorkers that gave the money, like they've never considered, oh my God, a homeless guy might actually buy a beer with it. Of course, we know that. Do all of them buy a beer with it? Are they all bums? No. But that's how Stossel frames it, like, oh yeah. I mean, look, as he's going to say in the next segment, in the next clip here, like, there's some veterans and stuff that ran on tough times, but overall, it's a nice scam. $90 a day, 23,000 tax-free. Just got to live on the streets. That's a great deal. I don't think it's that great a deal. You don't have to rub their face in it. Now, here's the rest of the report.
Are you suggesting that the people who are begging for money on the streets, we should not give them money?
Yes, and it's not I who am suggesting that. The people who work with the homeless say don't give them money. It's a bad thing. You're an enabler. You're enabling their alcohol or their drug habit. And far better to, if you really think they're for real, and most are not, to try to help them get to one of the social service agencies. I give to charities that I can observe personally. But they're also, which is one way to check, sure. And there are also charity rating services like Charity Navigator and the Better Business Bureau, and they help, but it's not perfect. They get conned too.
What are some of your favorites?
Well, I give to Central Park Conservancy because I can see they do a good job taking care of this park when the government let it go to seed. I give to a group called Doe Fund, Men in Blue, Ready, Willing, and Able. You've seen them around here. They rehab ex-cons, and I watch them work, and I could see that they walk with spring in their step.
So, by the way, the first one is not a fund that goes to the homeless. It's one that helps Central Park keep clean. So that's just for John Stossel. It's not really to help the homeless. But look, I'm glad that he gives to those funds. And like I said, I think you're better off, not necessarily to the ones he listed, but do your own homework and give it. What I don't need is John Stossel every year picking on these guys and going and basically making fun of them in the guise of like doing some investigative reporting. We know, man, some of them are in big trouble and it'd be nice to give them a helping hand. Some of them are not in trouble. Some of them are alcoholics. Some of them have an addiction. And yes, we see the signs, and sometimes people give money even if they say they need a beer. You know why? Because the guy who gave the money, every once in a while, he had needed a beer. And he understands the pain of that guy. That's not a bad thing, John. There's much worse things to tackle in the world. So next time, John, can you pick on someone your own size?
I'll ask you the standard question. You know?
Standard question.
I think this is fake.
You think it's fake? What's that? Is that fake? Huh? What the hell's wrong with you? That's open hand slap, huh? You think it's fake? Huh? What do you mean? Fake.
Every year when I see he does that segment making fun of the homeless, basically, that slap doesn't feel quite as bad. Takes the sting out of that slap just a little bit every year.